Hi everyone, welcome to Mockat's live stream. Today we'll be solving past jumbled paragraph questions. We'll look at CAT 2021 as well as 2020 and 2019. We'll be solving the standardized jumbled paragraphs where we have 4 sentences. They're all jumbled up and these are type in the answer, that is to say theta or non-MCQ questions as we've been having in CAT over the last few years. So we don't have options. We'll need to type in the answer 1 4 3 2, 3 4 1 2, whatever you feel is the right sequence. Now, because we don't have options in CAT, it of course makes it more difficult than other exams where we have options, but at the same time, there's no negative marks for getting it wrong. So that's one advantage that we have. So we look to solve 5 questions today. We'll be solving it together. I'll give you all 2 minutes to solve each question. At the end of each question, we'll discuss it and I'll also of course share the answer with you. Keep it as interactive as possible. Put in all your doubts that you have over here. And let's start off. So I'll start with the first one. I'll give you guys 2 minutes. I'm not discussing any techniques over here. What you do have in the description part of the stream is our lesson. So the lesson is right now available to the public. So all of you can just log into mockat.com. We have put the exact link there. And you can access the jumbled paragraph lesson. You have all of the lesson videos, the text lesson, all the techniques that we use. You also have the odd one out, which is, something which is unique to CAT. So you also have that lesson available right now. That's, I think, going to be there only for the next 3 or 4 days. So you all can just try to go through it and, get to know all the techniques which you can use to make sure that your answer is right as much as possible. So that's about it. Now let's start off. So this is the first question and I will just start the timer. So this is a CAT 2021 slot 1 my slot question. It's an easy one. So we are starting out with an easy one to warm up. And as you guys solve it, you can just put the answer in the chat. Okay, good stuff. So a lot of you guys have got the right answer. So that's really great. So I'll quickly explain it also. Now, here, let's try to understand quickly what is happening and then we'll try to figure out what could be the first sentence, what could be the possible sequences, what should be the conclusive last sentence and so on. Sorry. So a popular response. Now here we have the word response. So this planting more trees, the exhortation or to urge people to plant more trees is a response. So let's try and find out what it could be a response to. So I'll be needing the sentence which planting trees is a response to before one. So we'll basically try to find something before statement 1. It seems all but certain, so it's pretty certain that global warming will go well above 2 degrees. Quite how high, no one knows yet. So global warming will basically go above 2 degrees. So the average temperature will probably rise above 2 degrees. Now, if the temperature is going to rise, this obviously is a problem, right? We all know global warming is a problem, of course. And now this could be a solution to it. So it could be a scenario where 2 is coming ahead of 1, where 2 is the problem, which is global warming. And then you have 1, which is a popular solution, right? So this potentially could be our sequence. Let's read on and see if we need to fit something else in or what is it. Burning them releases it. Now, this them could probably be trees, right? Burning trees releases it. Why do I say that? Because we're speaking about forest fires and all of that. So forest fires, trees there in forest, so burning them, this them could be these trees, but as of now we don't know what this it is, right? So we need to figure out what it is, and that is something that we get in the 4th sentence. This is because trees sequester carbon by absorbing carbon dioxide. So they basically catch hold of carbon, or they sort of ensure that this carbon dioxide is not in the atmosphere and causing global warming. They are absorbing it, right? So now 2 things is happening, right? One is we know that this it is probably CO2, and another thing we can see is from 1 there is a very clear link to 4, and same way from 4 to 3. Why am I saying that? Okay, global warming is happening. A popular response to that is plant more trees. So why is that the case? If global warming is happening, why are we looking to plant more trees instead of doing something else, let's say like moving to electric vehicles or any other thing, right? So because trees absorb carbon dioxide, so that's the reason for this solution. And you have the word because also to help us understand that. And then from there we go to 3, which is like the alternative effect, right? The negative which happens instead of planting trees. If for some reason trees are burnt, there's actually a huge negative effect. So good job all of you guys who got it. 2143 is exactly the answer. Very briefly, for those of you guys, who might have doubts, I've had students who've had doubts about a couple of things. One is, how can we have it in the first sentence? Because, typically we do say that the noun has to come before the pronoun comes. So here you guys have to understand that this it is not really used in the typical pronoun way, where there's a particular thing and it is being used as a pronoun instead of it. When we are saying it seems all but certain, that's a contextual usage. That's a way of saying that it's probably like 99% certain or 95% certain, like that, right? It's all but 100% certain. So all but 100% certain, as in just shy of 100% certain, or just shy of absolute certainty that this is going to happen. So the author is saying that it's most likely going to happen, that the temperature is going to rise above 2 degrees. So that's a doubt which I've seen people have. Another quick thing which I'll tell you guys, which again sometimes people ask is, why do we care about carbon dioxide? So that's because carbon dioxide is one of the most common greenhouse gases. What it does is it absorbs heat from the sun, and that's a primary reason or a major reason of global warming. So hence this entire thing. Again, if you're interested in the science of it, of course, you can look it up. So that's about it. Good stuff, guys. Those of you who got it, no other doubts in the comments. So now let's get to the next one. Okay, the time's up. I'll just give you guys 10 seconds more to come up with the answer. Okay, couple of you guys have got it, so good. Okay, let's start off. So let's read it sentence by sentence. It's a little longer. Let's understand what's happening. Restitution of artifacts to original cultures could face legal obstacles. So we are understanding that, these Western museums, they will face, maybe they could face legal obstacles if they are trying to return artifacts to original cultures. So this is speaking about a problem, but the context is not very clear here, right? So which is the sentence which is making the context here? Can any of you put in what you feel is the first sentence in the chat? Of course, those of you who ping the entire answer, leaving you guys others. Anyone who can come up with just the first sentence? 1, 2, 3, 4, just put that. Good, yeah, good stuff. So quite a few of you guys have got it. So that's good. Yeah, absolutely. So it is this one, right? This is the one where we are getting the context. What is happening? Museums in Europe today, this is the major issue that they are facing, right? They have a colonial legacy. What does that mean? They basically, because, they've been colonial, because they've come and sort of, ruled over other countries. We've obviously had that experience. So they have some artifacts, right? They have some, things which are basically there in the museum. So it could be statues, it could be other stuff, it could be jewelry. India, of course, we know about Kohinoor and other stuff. So this is the initial problem which is there, right? Now, this being the problem, we also have statement 2, which is elaborating or adding a little more of an example to this problem, right? So in Europe, museums are struggling today. They want to return artifacts, but at the same time, they don't want to lose their collection. Also, it's understandable, right? It's something which they've had maybe for a few decades. They want to give it back to the original country, but they're also feeling that pinch of, something that's been here, it's going to go away. We can see that this is in response, right? So this over here is something which has to be this entire action, right? So wanting to return, so that is something which they are doing in response to countries like Nigeria. What's Nigeria doing? Nigeria is saying that, our artifacts that you've looted, you need to give it back, right? So 3-2, we see a connect over here, where what is happening is, this is the entire problem of that museums are facing. That's one. Now then we are going into a specific territory, right? This is about the overall context, which is all about returning these artifacts to the original countries. Now within this returning, right, the rest of the paragraph is not about whether they are doing it, do they want to do it, are they facing pressure and all. It's about one specific aspect, which is this legal obstacles, right? So here we can also see the 1-4 connect, which is quite strong. Now restitution of artifacts or returning these artifacts could face legal obstacles, because it's a museum. There are, certain laws they can't just dispose of. They can't go and, give it to someone. Then, so there is this legal issue which is there. Then we are saying legal hurdles notwithstanding, they are trying to, or they are now supporting this return, right? So you have the connect that, there is a legal issue. Still, politicians and institutions, probably the museums and all, would want to return it, right? So 3, 2, 1 and 4. Now you can see this is a little difficult as compared to the earlier one that was simpler and shorter. This does have, some slightly more difficult words also. But if you look for connects like this, it often makes it easier, right? So all of you pretty much got the context. From there, you can use this word this, right? You can understand this cannot refer to 1 or 4. It can only refer to 3. And same way, 1 and 4, again, there's a strong sequential connect. So that is also something which you can use. So unless there are any doubts, we'll go to the next one. Next one is a slightly past question. So I'll open it up to you guys now. So this is from 2019. So as you can see, so here again, this is about a topic which, might not, okay, sorry. So there's a 3241. Okay, I'll just explain that. Why isn't it 3241? See, so here what is happening, Mani, is that could face legal obstacles, right? So you can see that, cat, they've probably made a grammatical error, or we could have made it, should have been could face legal obstacles. So this returning could face legal obstacles. Legal obstacles is being introduced over here. Then we are saying legal hurdles notwithstanding. What does notwithstanding mean over here? Legal hurdles are there. Still, these politicians and institutions want to return it. So before you say legal hurdles are there, still they want to return it, you need to bring in, or you need to introduce the legal obstacles. So unless you have brought in legal obstacles, you cannot have statement 4, because if you see statements 2 and 3 are not mentioning anything about law, right? This is more ethical. Okay, they've come to these countries, they've ruled these countries, they've taken these artifacts, now they want to return it, the countries also want to return. There's nothing mentioned about law over here. So you bring in legal obstacles here, then you say, what, these issues might be there, still they want to return it. So hopefully that clarifies your doubt. Otherwise, if you want any more explanation, again just put it in the chat. In the meantime, we'll quickly go to the next one. Cool, awesome. Okay, so next one, again 2 minutes. So this one again is it's a little shorter, but here you guys can make very strong sequences. So try and make sequences, and that should give you the right answer here. Okay, only one person has got this right. So I'll just explain the logic. But this is exactly why jumbled paragraphs are much more difficult, right? Because a lot of you guys, you just stopped shy of getting the right answer, right? There's just, if you had interchanged a couple of digits, you guys would have got it. So that's what sometimes makes this a little heartbreaking. And that is why from a test taking strategy perspective, I do recommend a lot of times that probably this should be the last thing that you do. Odd one out, of course, there are 5 sentences, you need to pick one. So that's a lot easier. But now let's come to this, right? So pretty much for all of you guys, it was either 1 or 2 which was the first sentence, and both could actually be first sentences. Not that it can only be 2, one can also be a first sentence. In this case it isn't, and I'll explain why. Sorry. Now in this case what is happening is, let's look at these 2 sentences. This sentence is speaking about the listener's response, right? Uninitiated listener, the person who's listening to atonal music the first time, then it might just seem like noise, right? But then if you see, there is a sentence which is explaining why it is not just noise, why there is, so much effort which is being put into it. There's also another sentence which is using the word however, which is similar to but, right? So it's a contrasting word. So whatever comes before statement 4 has to be something which is contrasting in meaning. Why am I saying that? Because the sentence starts with the word however, right? So whatever is coming ahead of statement 4 has to be contrasting in meaning to what I've put over here in bracket, right? Because we have the word however. So the only thing which it could be is sentence 1, right? Because if you see, this one is saying that it seems like noise. It seems like noise, but it's one of the most important movements in modern music or 20th century music, right? So statement 1 is the only one which can come just ahead of statement 4 because of this word however which is there. If you look at statement 2, that is not something which is contrasting. If you look at statement 3, that is again not something which is contrasting, right? This is in fact going similar. This is just a standard definition. So because we have that, now the way this could have been the first sentence is we had this and then we immediately had the explanation. So that is gone. So we go with 2 as the first sentence. You can have 3 either over here or over here, right? If you guys have any doubts with my logic, again just put it in the chat and I'll explain it, right? So we have statement 1. From statement 1 we are going to statement 2, and then when we look at we're going to statement 4, and then when we look at statement 2, then it's the first sentence. Now from statement 2 we can go to statement 1, right? There's an explanation of atonality, and then we are being told that, you know what, if you're hearing it for the first time, it might seem like music, it might seem like noise to you, but it's an important movement. And then you have the conclusion that your tune may change. What does your tune may change mean? Your opinion may change, right? So your opinion may change once you realize how much expertise is required, right? So then we don't need it here, we need it here, because if you have 2 3 1 4, it of course doesn't make sense. So again here what you all can, and I'll particularly speak about those of you who got 2 1 3 4, Sai Karthik of course got it right. Look at it logically, right? Definition of atonality, it might seem like noise. You need to have the word however, because both 3 and 4 are speaking positively about atonality or atonal music, right? So you have to have the sentence which has the but type of word first before you bring in a contrast. So it's 2 1 4 3 and not 2 1 3 4. So this is actually something which you guys can remember, and you can even obviously it's on YouTube, so you all can come back to it. Those of you who are students, we'll be having a discussion in the class as well. So this is something which you guys definitely should remember. So good job, yeah. Ajay also got it, and Sai Karthik also got it. So good stuff, guys. Okay, I'll give you guys a minute in case there's any doubts. Otherwise, we'll start off. Cool. Okay, so time's up. Those of you who were not able to get the sequence, can you just try to ping what you guys feel is the first sentence, and then we can try to take it from there. Okay. Okay, now I'll tell you guys. Okay, so far no one's got the right answer. Pawan has got the first sentence correct. So what I'll do is I'll explain the sequence and I'll quickly explain why the others cannot be the first sentence, right? So if you see, the US has maintained that the Northwest Passage, so this is about the Northwest Passage. If you see, this is where we understand what the Northwest Passage is, right? So this is something which has to come before this sentence comes. This is speaking about the dispute. So again, when we are saying the dispute, that means we're speaking about a specific dispute. So you need to have the explanation of the dispute before this sentence comes. And again, for also the passage, so you've got to have, you know, the description of the passage itself before. So that if you guys see, it's coming in statement 2. I think now that we know the first sentence is statement 2, and this is of course logic which you can use going forward, now it becomes easier for us to understand what it could be. Why is that? This is saying the dispute. This is also saying US and Canada have never legally settled the question of access, right? So what's happening here? First, we only have Canada. Canada acquired or probably, you know, bought these group of islands which form the Northwest Passage. So, you know, maybe the shipping routes in between those, they form the Northwest Passage. Then you have the US which is being brought in over here, right? The US is saying that this is an international strait and we don't need your permission. You might own the islands, but we can go through the waters because it's an international strait. So you have Canada over here. You have two things here which are being introduced, US plus the dispute also. Now that this is done, then from here we go into the fact that, you know what, these guys, they have not legally settled it. Canada has got sovereignty, US is saying this, but they've not legally settled it. Having said that, this entire issue is something which could be a non-issue. Why? Because, you know, if there's not going to be any ice, they could probably use the Arctic Ocean and not even go through this strait, right? So you can see that statement 3 is taking it in a slightly different direction altogether. So 2, 1, 4, 3. Now, a lot of times this is something you all will see where you have a sequence and you have one sentence which is almost like, you know, we are going straight and then there's like a right turn or a left turn. Think of it that way visually, right? What is happening? We spend 3 sentences understanding a dispute between two powerful countries. Suddenly at the end we are being told that this dispute itself could be transitory. It could not exist only after some time, right? So anytime you have something like this where it's sort of taking a detour, you'll find that many a time that is the last sentence. Right. So again, if you all look at the lesson that's available for free, link is there in the description. You can find more examples like this, and there are a lot of solved questions also that you can access, plus 60 practice questions as well on mockat.com. Okay, so quickly, so 2, why is 2 the first sentence? So 2 is where this Northwest Passage, we are getting an understanding of what it is. The group of islands that form the Northwest Passage. Here we are simply being told the Northwest Passage, and only after the Northwest Passage is explained can we have any dispute. Here we are saying the passage, so obviously, you know, the Northwest Passage explanation has to come ahead, and here we are obviously speaking about dispute and all. So dispute itself is in 2, 1, so that has to come before 3. So 2 is your initial introduction of what the Northwest Passage is, and then in 1 you can look at it as 2, 1 together are your context, right? 2, 1 together are explaining what exactly is the dispute, and then 4 and 3 are telling us a little bit more about the dispute and, you know, the fact that it might not be there at all. Okay, good stuff. So let's start the last one quickly. So guys, let's push. Let's try to get this one. This is from CAT 2020. It was a little tougher again. But again, try to use the techniques which we've discussed now and you should get it. Okay, so last one seems to be, like I said, it's a little difficult, but then we actually have these techniques in the lesson, right? So look at this. Now, for pretty much all of you guys, you've gone for 3 being the first sentence because it explains the context, right? Biological weapons and all that. Now, a couple of things which you guys missed. One is chronology, which we've discussed in the sequences lesson, right? For those of you who've gone through it. This is something which has happened before. Since the dawn of civilization, since the beginning of civilization, humans have used poison, not just for individuals, but also against armies, right? So this is chronologically happening much before any of these others, right? So that is something which is there. Then within it, you have this which is coming next. Why is it coming next? Because this is something which happened much before. Then you have a specific case around poisons, which is biological weapons. So more complex stuff and all that after microbiology came in, right? So 1 and 3 have to be in this sequence. So 3 cannot be a first sentence. So Yashasvi, good stuff. Yeah, he's got it, right? Now you also have 2, 4 as a strong sequence, right? Which many of you guys have got. Why is that? These dangers were soon recognized. These dangers are nothing but these biological weapons. So this is also clear. But more than 3, 2, you all can see that 2, 4 is a very strong sentence, a very strong connection. Why? Because there are these 2 declarations, and then we are saying that these treaties were made in good faith, but there's not, so much that they could do, right? So what do you have? You have had poison which has always been used. You've had these biological weapons which are being used. Now these dangers, these biological weapons were realized, the dangers about these were realized. So you have the solution. Having said that, this solution itself is not very strong, right? So 1, 3, 2, 4 is your correct answer over here. So good stuff, yeah, guys. Good work. Thanks for staying and solving. Hopefully you guys had fun. The next one is not going to be verbal, but in the next verbal session that we have, we'll get back to solving the CAT 2021 RCs. And for all of you guys, you have the lesson which is there in the description. So you all can go through it. It's free right now. Not sure for how long it will be available, but definitely for about a week you guys have it. And all the best for your CAT preparation, and look forward to seeing you in the next live stream.